Good morning, Alex. How are you? Congratulations on your deal with Fulcrum Metals. Let's start there.
Good morning, Tracy. Good to have you with us. It's a great thing. 2 weeks ago, we announced the closure of the option agreement with Fulcrum Metals PLC. It was a process that lasted about 3 months, obviously, paperwork and everything. But I'm really happy now that we have finally completed option agreement, which allows Terra to acquire 100% ownership of a 600 square kilometer portfolio in Saskatchewan, Athabasca Basin. And we look forward to starting fieldwork in September.
I don't often tell our audience to take a look at our CEO's background, but I recommend everyone go check out Aleksandar's, and did I pronounce that properly?
Yep.
Background.
Well, thank you very much.
The reason I mention this is that we had you in the upcoming CMI summit in the quest for the global search for critical minerals, because you're right out there. In addition to picking up a uranium prospect in the Athabasca Basin, you're in Serbia. Tell us what's in Serbia and why we should all be following what you're doing.
That's precisely right. Terra Balcanica happens to be exposed to what I believe are four critical metals, one of them being energy mineral, obviously uranium, going forward. So we have exposure to copper, gold, silver, and uranium. In Serbia and Bosnia, we have a portfolio of about 250 square kilometers. And to sum it up, really, in Bosnia, it's all about high-grade silver close to surface, shallow, high-grade silver system. Whereas in Serbia, we have identical situation, except it's not silver, it's actually gold. That gold in Serbia is connected, in our belief, with porphyry copper system. So therefore, the Serbian story is really porphyry copper, epithermal gold, high grade on surface. And that's exactly what Terra Balcanica will be drilling in the next 2 months. I'm heading overseas in about 10 days, and we'll be meeting with both the crew that's going to do the geological logging or of the core, as well as the drilling crew that's going to execute the drilling. We're looking at about 1,200 meter drill program in Serbia to try to intercept these high-grade gold veins and see what we come up with.
And of course, I've watched you achieve milestones incredibly efficiently. Can you tell us what shareholders or stakeholders should be looking forward to in the next quarter or two?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So I'm really excited about the upcoming 4 months. So we're going to close the current financing. We are probably looking for another week or so of time left to reach that $1.4 million mark at the current 10-cent price. And then after that, we are hoping to really start issuing press releases related to both last year's work as well as the upcoming work. So what do shareholders and everybody else who's following Terra can expect? Well, we're going to commence, as I said, field work in Saskatchewan in the flagship property, Charlotte Neely, sometime in September. We'll also probably land on Fontaine Lake and Snowbird, two other properties as a part of our uranium portfolio. We're going to commence the drilling in Serbia, so that 1,200 meters of drill program in Serbia. And all of that is going to create, let's say, about a dozen or so really robust news releases. We're going to be issuing them, obviously, as we proceed. And hopefully that's going to reflect upon a share price immediately. At some point in the future, Terra is hoping to initiate a financing, obviously at much higher levels, that is going to support our ambitious goals in Saskatchewan. So obviously, probably some sort of flow-through financing, but obviously we first need to execute a couple of primary steps before we get to that stage.
And of course, your model is your shares outstanding are fairly tight, if I recall. Can you give InvestorNews audiences kind of a recap on what's going on with your actual business model?
For sure. So as recently as 2 months ago, we have completed corporate consolidation, shareholder consolidation. We've rolled back ratio 3-to-1. So we had about 100 million shares outstanding. Subsequent to the rollback, we have 33.5. Obviously, we've issued some shares during the current financing. So we're currently sitting at about 41 million shares. As a part of the deal, which was also press released, we've given 3 million shares to Fulcrum Metals PLC. So we're sitting at 44. So fairly tight structure. one thing I also would like to emphasize is the fact that 70% of the entire float is held by the management board directors and closely associated parties. So it's a tightly held stock. We want to be very considerate who gets into this current round of financing, obviously, because it's given at fairly favorable conditions. And then obviously build on that, use the capital and proceeds from that to execute in both Saskatchewan and Bosnia. Oh, sorry, I should say Serbia.
So a question for you. If this project in Saskatchewan was so amazing, how did you talk Fulcrum into selling it to you?
I mean, I'll be completely frank, Tracy. It kind of came accidentally into my lap. And once it did, I didn't want to let it go. So it came through the management, through the board. One of our board members passed it over to me and said, Alex, what do you think of it? I took a look at it and I'm like, oh, this is pretty amazing. What are the conditions? Once I heard the conditions and the terms of the deal, I liked it even more. So it made business sense for us to really enter into that deal. I can't speak for Fulcrum, but my understanding is their focus lies elsewhere. I think they want to focus on diversifying their portfolio and probably spearheaded by their efforts to extract metals from mine tailings in Ontario. So that seems to be their primary focus. Whereas obviously, we do have expertise on, detecting good targets and drilling them in Bosnia and Serbia, as we have shown. So it kind of made sense for them to be part of the story, piggyback on us, and for us to actually execute on the ground. And I really look forward to it. I mean, we did not pick up this portfolio just to flip it over to somebody else. That's not the game plan. We want to actually add value. We want to do airborne geophysics. We want to detect the targets, and we want to drill them next year.
So for everybody out there seeking more information on Terra Balcanica, go to their website or send us an email and we'll introduce you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Alex.
Thank you very much, Tracy.